Look, let's be real for a second. You can spend your entire morning setting intentions, writing in your manifestation journal, and visualizing your dream life until you're blue in the face. But if your emotional reactions to your current reality don't change, your life won't either. And honestly, that's the one part of this whole spiritual growth journey that nobody really explains well enough. We're taught that what we want matters most, but the truth is, the universe doesn't care about what you want. It cares about who you are and how you're vibrating right now in response to what's happening in front of you. Hey everyone, I'm Mohamed and welcome back to Galaxy Gestalt. Today I want to have a very grounded, very honest conversation about why your emotional reactions are actually manifesting your life way faster than your conscious intentions ever will. We're going to look at how your emotions lock in your frequency, why your reality responds to what feels automatic rather than what feels planned, and how to finally break those loops that keep you stuck. Stick around until the end because once you understand the mechanics of your reactions, the way you experience every single day is going to shift in a way that makes manifestation feel less like work and more like an inevitable outcome. By the way, if you want some extra help with this, especially when it comes to reprogramming the subconscious at a deeper level so those reactions start to change naturally, I've got a free ebook called The Magic of Affirmations. It's linked right down there in the description, so definitely grab that if you haven't yet. It's a great tool for the inner work we're talking about today. So why does it feel like the bad stuff manifests instantly, while the good stuff takes forever? It's because an intention is usually a conscious effort, but a reaction is a subconscious declaration. Think about it. When you set an intention, you're often coming from a place of, I want this because I don't have it yet. There's a slight gap there. But when you react to something, say a bill you didn't expect or a text that triggers you, that reaction is a total 100% immersion in a specific state of being. You aren't trying to feel stressed, you just are stressed, and that absolute certainty in your emotional state is what the subconscious mind reads as a command. It's like the difference between a whisper and a shout. Your intentions are often a polite whisper, but your reactions, those are a megaphone blast to the quantum field saying, this is my reality, this is how I feel, give me more of this frequency. The reason this happens is that your brain and your body are essentially a recording of the past. Most of our emotional reactions are just programs running on autopilot. When something happens in your outer world, your brain searches its archives for how it's supposed to feel based on everything that's happened to you before. If you've always felt lack when it comes to money, your reaction to a high price tag isn't just a one-time thing, it's a reinforced identity. You're telling the universe, I am a person who is stressed by this. And because the universe is basically a giant mirror, it says, okay, if that's your identity, here's more stuff to be stressed about. It's a loop. We see reality, we react to it, and that reaction creates more of the same reality. It's why people get stuck in the same relationship patterns or the same financial plateaus for years. They're so busy trying to intend their way out of it that they don't realize their daily, hourly reactions are keeping them locked in the cage. See, your conscious mind is like the captain of a ship, but your subconscious, the part that handles those automatic emotional reactions, is the engine room. You can stand on the deck all day shouting full steam ahead toward wealth and happiness, but if the engine room is set to anxiety and scarcity, the ship isn't moving where you want it to go. Your reactions reveal your true internal state. They are the check engine light of your manifestation process. If you want to know what you're actually manifesting, don't look at your vision board. Look at how you react when you're stuck in traffic. Look at how you react when someone disagrees with you. Look at how you react when you have to wait for something you really want. Those moments are the real intentions you're putting out into the world. And here's the kicker. Reality responds faster to what's automatic. Why? Because there's no resistance in an automatic reaction. When you're trying to manifest $1 million, you probably have a lot of buts and hows and doubts floating around in your head. That's resistance. But when you get angry at a coworker, you're not doubting your anger. You're fully in it. There's a raw, unfiltered power in that emotion. I'm telling you, folks, The intensity of our reactions is the fuel for our manifestations. That's why the bad stuff seems to show up so quickly, because we're so much more practiced at feeling the intensity of frustration than we are at feeling the intensity of gratitude for something that hasn't arrived yet. I see this all the time with people who are deep into the law of attraction. They'll do their affirmations, they'll do their meditations, and then they'll go out into the world, and the second something goes wrong, they fall apart. They spend 10 minutes in a high vibe, and then 10 hours reacting to the low vibe world around them. And then they wonder why nothing is changing. It's because the 10 hours of reaction carry way more weight than the 10 minutes of intention. You're essentially outvoting your desires every single day with your emotional responses. Mastering your reactions is the same thing as mastering your reality. It's about creating a buffer zone between what happens and how you respond. Most of us have zero buffer. Stimulus happens, reaction follows. It's like a reflex. But the power, the real manifesting power, lives in that tiny gap between the event and the emotion. If you can learn to stay neutral or even just slightly less reactive, you stop the old cycle in its tracks. You start telling the universe, I am no longer defined by what is happening outside of me. I am defined by what I choose to feel inside of me. And that, my friends, is when the big shifts start to happen. Think about money for a second. It's the biggest trigger for most people. You check your bank account and it's lower than you want it. Your immediate gut-level reaction is probably a sinking feeling in your stomach, maybe some tightness in your chest. That reaction is you manifesting more low bank account energy. It's an unconscious command. But what if you saw that number and chose neutrality? What if you looked at it and just thought, okay, that's where it is right now, and didn't let your nervous system go into a tailspin? By staying calm, you aren't being passive, you're being powerful. You're refusing to let the current reflection in the mirror dictate your frequency. You're keeping your frequency stable so that a new reflection can eventually form. Quick pause here. If this is clicking for you and you're starting to see how your reactions might be steering the ship more than your intentions, make sure to like the video, drop a comment below about a reaction you're working on shifting, and share this with someone who needs a perspective shift. It really helps the channel grow, and it lets me know you want more of these deep dives into the mechanics of how this stuff actually works. Now, I want to talk about why overreacting keeps us stuck in these loops. We've all been there, right? Something small happens and we turn it into a whole drama. We tell everyone about it, we replay it in our heads, we feel the sting of it over and over. Every time you replay a reaction, you are manifesting that event again and again in your energetic field. You're basically telling the universe, hey, I really liked that feeling of being wronged. Let's do it some more. The subconscious doesn't know the difference between what's happening out there and what you're imagining in here. So if you're reacting to a memory of a bad day, you're manifesting more bad days. This is why inner neutrality is so vital. People think neutrality is boring or that it means you don't care. But in the realm of manifestation, neutrality is a superpower. Neutrality is the void state. It's where you stop feeding the old programs. When you stop reacting, the old reality eventually runs out of steam because it has no fuel. It's like a fire. Your emotional reactions are the wood and the oxygen. Stop throwing your emotions at the problem, and the fire eventually dies out. Then and only then do your conscious intentions have the space to actually take root and grow without being choked out by the weeds of your old reactions. Let's look at relationships. Maybe you're waiting for a specific person to text you, or you're wanting more intimacy with a partner. You set the intention, I am in a loving, communicative relationship. But then they don't text back for 5 hours. How do you react? If you react with anxiety, with here we go again, with they don't care about me, you are manifesting a relationship where you are ignored and anxious. Your reaction is a much stronger prayer than your morning intention was. Your reaction is your truth. If you want the intention to manifest, you have to react as the person who already has the intention fulfilled. A person in a secure, loving relationship wouldn't spiral over a 5-hour delay. They'd be busy living their life. They'd be neutral. I'm telling you, it's the small shifts that create the big external changes. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be a Zen monk who never gets annoyed. It's about the degree and the duration of the reaction. If you get triggered, can you catch it? Can you say, wait, I'm reacting in a way that's manifesting more of this. Let me take a breath. That simple act of awareness breaks the frequency lock. It pulls you out of the automatic program and puts you back in the director's chair. We have to realize that our environment is always trying to bait us into our old identities. Life will test you. It'll throw the same old situations at you just to see if you'll bite. If you react the same way you always have, you pass the test for staying in your current reality. If you react differently, or better yet, if you don't react at all, you pass the test for moving into a new reality. It's almost like a video game. You can't get to the next level until you stop being defeated by the same boss on level 1. And that boss isn't the person who cut you off in traffic or the boss who didn't give you a raise. The boss is your own emotional reaction to those things. And look, I know this is easier said than done. We've been conditioned for decades to be reactive. We've been told that our feelings are just who we are. But your feelings are often just habits, and habits can be changed. That's why I'm such a big fan of using tools to bridge that gap. If you haven't yet, definitely grab my free ebook, The Magic of Affirmations. It's in the description. It's designed to help you start planting those new seeds in the subconscious so that over time your automatic reactions start to align with your intentions instead of fighting against them. The goal here is to get to a point where your intentions become so grounded in your being that they become your reactions. Imagine if your automatic reaction to a challenge was curiosity instead of fear. Imagine if your automatic reaction to a delay was the assumption that something better is coming. That's when the magic happens. That's when you see things manifesting in days or hours instead of months or years, because there is no conflict between what you want and how you feel. You are a unified front. I want you to try something this week. Just one thing. Pick one recurring trigger in your life, something that always gets a rise out of you. It could be a specific person, a type of email, a certain thought about your future. Decide right now that the next time it happens, you are going to practice the pause. You're going to feel the impulse to react. You're going to notice that familiar heat or tension, and you're just going to sit with it for 10 seconds without letting it turn into a story. Just 10 seconds of neutrality. In those 10 seconds, you are reclaiming your power. You are telling the universe that you are the one in charge of your frequency, not the circumstances. You'll find that as you do this, the problems themselves start to dissolve or change in ways you couldn't have predicted. It's not because you fixed them. It's because you stopped manifesting them with your reactions. You stopped giving them the energy they needed to survive in your experience. Reality is much more fluid than we think, but it hardens around our strongest emotions. If you keep your emotions fluid and intentional, reality has no choice but to reshape itself around you. It's a different way of living, for sure. It's moving from being a victim of circumstance to being a conscious architect of energy. It's realizing that your most important work isn't what you do with your hands or even what you do with your thoughts. It's what you do with your nervous system. A calm, grounded nervous system is the most powerful manifestation tool in existence. Because when you're calm, you're in a state of allowing. You aren't pushing, you aren't grasping, and you aren't reacting from a place of lack. You're just here. And in that here-ness, everything you've been intending finally has a clear path to reach you. I know it's a lot to take in. We're so used to the hustle and the trying part of manifestation. But I'm telling you, the being part, specifically the how you react part, is the missing link. You can have all the intentions in the world, but if you're still reacting like the old version of yourself, you'll keep living the old version's life. Change the reaction, and you change the trajectory of your entire existence. It's that simple. even if it's not always easy. Anyway, I think that's a good place to leave it for today. This stuff is deep, and it takes practice, so be patient with yourself. Every time you catch a reaction, you're winning. Every time you choose peace over drama, you're manifesting something better. All right, folks, that's it for today. Thanks for spending this time with me. Whether you like, comment, share, or subscribe, that's entirely up to you. I'm just glad you're here doing this work. Just remember, reality doesn't respond to what you say you want. It responds to how you live and how you react to the life you have right now. Once you master those reactions, and I mean really master them, everything changes. Truly, everything. Take care of yourselves. Stay grounded, and I'll see you in the next one.